Hello, YouTube modeling community. Welcome to a special treat. Normally, I could say over the past 2 years, we've not done this, but there's enough requests, even though they were minimal, to do an unboxing of the new release from 2025 Mobius products, Mobius models, whatever you want to call them, of their 1964 Mercury Comet protouring kit. Now, as all of you that actually follow me and have been with me from the beginning, the protouring is like my wheelhouse. That's where that's my niche. I really enjoy the challenge of trying to replicate those kind of, I think you could call them street machines, even though they're race, they're set up for either track or strip or street racing. Overall, basically like a show car, over 1,000 horsepower, full roll cage, tubular suspension, Willwood or Bear brakes, powerful, fast stopping brakes. For that kind of horsepower, you got to be able to slow the car down. So they have all the elite parts on it. Most of them are either mini tubbed or they're fully tubbed, depending on the width of the tire. They all usually sit very low to the ground. Wide body kits on them. All the aerodynamic spoilers. You see some of them put on it. So it keeps evolving and changing and everything else. I personally would call this kit a resto mod. We've seen resto mod kits in the past. They're not really, I wouldn't consider those resto mods. Those are just like a car somebody put some parts on and nice set of tires and wheels and got a nice cruiser. Resto mods got, you take each category of car, whether it's pro stock, pro mod, there's components that make it what it is. And pro touring is no different. Very, very elaborate. I mean, if you look at them, most of them show up at SEMA, or individuals have built them in their backyard garage or out in the backyard for 2 or 3 years. Picked up a sponsor or two along the way, which really helped them complete what they were doing. It's really hard to explain. I've kind of always in the past, if you remember, pro touring is like it's like right in between pro stock and pro mod, that kind of thing. Still street drivable, but it's got the capability of throwing on a set of slicks and running it down the strip, or adjusting the suspension, wide tires front and rear, and put it on a road course. So they're very versatile and adapting to different levels of or different types of racing. That's my personal take on pro touring, and it always fascinates me that not so much the horsepower. I think I've kind of always thought in the back of my head that horsepower is always relevant in any kind of hot rod or old custom car. You want that nice rumbling sound while you cam the engine or fully built the engine, whatever it may be. But it's that it just sounds mean, looks wicked, drives scares the crap out of you. That's kind of pro touring. I think pro stock kind of evolved into pro touring. Guys started thinking about, well, pro street, driving on the street, they got these high horsepower engines, 700-800 horsepower, right around there, kind of topped out. I've seen a few that are 1,000 or more. The involvement came in, well, we can put a tubular chassis underneath this car that rides on rails, so you get that smooth drive like a new car would be. For example, it's like if you went out and bought not necessarily a Cadillac, but use that as a reference point, where you get that nice, comfortable, easy to handle, steers nice, plenty of steering or turn capability, plenty of traction to the road, and that true sports car horsepower, banging through the gears, and it just, holds its lane and it goes. And then, you go home and 35, 45 minutes later, you've adjusted the suspension. Now you can put some wider tires in the front, a nice meaty set of treaded tires in the back, and hit a road course and race that circuit. You can come home, modify the suspension again, which is just adjustments because it's already there, and put a set of slicks in the back, narrow the tires in the front to lighten the car just a little bit more, and bang it straight down the quarter mile or eighth mile. Some tracks I think are 1/16 of a mile for the little rinky-dinky racetracks. But these cars are capable of whatever you throw at them, even if it's just a daily driver. I don't know too many people that put $40,000, $50,000 into a car or more, and that's just in parts, and their labor probably triples that, and drive it every day out in the rain or the snow or the bad weather, and they're not built for that, but they could be. That's the key thing. So as a modeler, I've always, my brain, where I have ADHD and slightly on the spectrum, my mind just goes down a rabbit hole with these things, and I drudge up all the information I can find, every picture I can find, every angle, what's underneath the hood, what's the interior, and then I always start referencing 3D files or who's making what, to source parts to replicate this car that I may be interested in. And there is a slew of them. If you remember, now we've got the car now. The other one is on its way. So we have 2 protouring projects coming up. One is the Ring Brothers Javelin. I've always wanted to replicate that car. Not that I know everything about it. It's just I've seen every angle of the car. I know what's underneath the hood. I know who built it. I know that they're a top builder in the world, and the car just from a regular Javelin is a very cool hot rod, very quick, very fast for what it was. To take it and widen it and put this new age Hemi down in it, and full tubular chassis. This thing rides on rails. It books it down the road. It does everything you want it to do, and yet looks phenomenal. Sorry for stealing that phrase from Joey at DIY, or King of DIY. If any of you guys are into tropical fish, I check his YouTube channel out. See, that's the rabbit hole right there. That's what I'm talking about. My mind just constantly just... Anyways, so growing up, I always liked the hot rods, and pretty much I just built any kind of model there was. Whatever I could get my hands on, I built it. And my mind always wondered then, what can I do this? New car, how can I make this? I can take it a step further. I can take it a step further. And nobody told me about that. I wasn't even aware of it. The only way I became aware of it was from magazines and getting subscriptions to, all these modeling magazines and seeing what people are doing with these things. And I'm like, holy crap, everything that I've been thinking about doing to one, somebody's already doing. So it just opened up the world of possibility. And then when I started getting into it heavy, I was probably in my late 20s, starting to have, in my late 20s, I had 2 kids. Shortly after that, another one on the way. I was probably around 30, 32 when my daughter was born. So, I had to take a break. I just didn't have the time to sit down and build a model. I still bought them from time to time and, threw them in the stash. I knew there would always be a day I'd get back into it, hopefully. And, that little bit of time, the kids started getting bigger. They were moving out, going to college, starting their own lives, having kids. And my wife said, hey, you got all those models? And I was like, well, I don't really have that many. I only got like 4 or 5. And I don't even know if they're in any good condition. And, from previous videos, I've pulled those out and showed you where, I actually got to build those. And now they're on display. They're not all beautiful, perfect models, but I just started off slow and kind of got my feet wet, so to speak. And that's when, Pro Mod was really super popular. I'm like, oh, that's really cool. Taking an old hot rod, putting, either the original engine in it and built it, new tires and wheels, lowering it. Some had newer age engines in them. Crate engines became available. more horsepower, all dressed up. So I kind of fell into that rhythm of, okay, aftermarket, there's all this aftermarket stuff. We'll try it out. First was just buying some tires and wheels. And then I'm finding pre-wired distributors. And when I was kind of going down and getting ready, jump into family life, photo etch was coming out and was getting pretty popular. Turned aluminum parts were getting really popular. They were hard to find because they were so popular. And then, everything I watched as I started building again, everything was kind of evolving into this pro touring phenomenon. Guys are building these, super high horsepower cars, road course ready, track, strip ready, street ready, and just the pieces of art that they were building. I'm like, well, in today's age with everything that's available, I could probably start replicating these. So, I've tried a few, failed on a few, succeeded on a few. Still today, my best one is Jay at Jay Mini Scale Garage. The Cutlass I built for him, that is a full-blown Pro Touring. That is a full tubular chassis underneath that car. From the back to the front, everything's plumbed, wired, fully detailed. The highest detailed build I've ever done. And unfortunately, it's not my own, but I know, Jay appreciated it. He gets, tons of comments on it, and that's great. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I do this, especially if I'm doing it for somebody else. So we'll take a break here just for a second. I want to thank everybody. I know I do this a lot, but thank you from the bottom of my heart. From the beginning of this channel to the present time, our channel has been stalled out for quite a while. And a lot of that's due to me. A lot of it is due to, and not being mean in any way, but due to your participation as far as comments and watching to the end. And that's the key thing here. You got to watch this video all the way to the end. And it will be a little lengthy. Hopefully I can keep it under 45 minutes. We'll see. But just watch it to the very end. That helps me. And maybe we can get this channel going again, start getting some life back into it. I've said it a million times. I'll say it one more time. I'm a lot of talk. Most of my videos are updates on what I'm working on, an occasional stash ad, or I'll throw it all into one video kind of to get over with, because I just don't have a lot of time to make a video every single time, like a lot of these guys do. And I used to have that kind of time, but now I don't. So this box is completely sealed. I've not opened it. I've not looked at any parts. I've been just like you, who have not gotten this kit yet. I've seen other reviews, but I asked if anybody would like to see an open box review of anything, and I got a few comments and emails sent to me about this particular kit. Now, whether it be because that's kind of where my wheelhouse is, I've seen a lot of other modelers, not to knock them, not to take anything away from them. They'll build a beautiful model. They'll take it to shows. It's an award-winning, build, piece of art, and they're calling it Pro Touring, and it's not. So just a fair warning on this kit. It is Pro Touring, but it's not in the same fact. But you can take it, because everything is there, you can take it that step further and make it completely Pro Touring. The chassis is there. Tires and wheels are a nice combo for this car. We will be using those for this build. Won't be using aftermarket on it. We will add some aftermarket components underneath the hood. Engine-wise, it is not a Pro Touring engine. Not to me. Pro Touring is the new age, new age Hemis, the new age LS motors. Some of them are, they're running, the Bodex, or other, big company that builds these racing engines is getting those engines put down in it, and that's understandable. So the concept of a, not stock engine, but, a built-up engine it's right there. It's just, it's not taking the extra mile where, if you had twin turbo or you had a pro-charged engine in it, putting a pro-charged engine in it puts it in the pro-charged category. So it's not really that's where pro touring kind of just fans out everywhere. You can put a pro mod engine in it. You could put a twin turbo. You can put just a LS in it. You could put a Hemi in it. You could put a Coyote engine in it, and get that. Now, this particular build, I don't know what kind of engine's in it. I didn't really pay attention a lot to that. I was kind of looking at how the chassis was, the interior was, that and the fitment of it when I was watching other people do this. So this is kind of a blessing in disguise that we're doing this open box review of this kit, because now I get to get a good look at it too. I do have ideas for it, and we'll kind of discuss that as we go. I'm going to flip flop and move you back, and I'm going to bring the model kit to the front, and we'll see we'll each get to see it at the same time, and we'll kind of talk through it. So again, thank you. And please, guys, I say it all the time, flood these comments. I got regulars that constantly flood the comments, but it's not to sound greedy, but it's not enough. We kind of really got to work together. As many people as contacted me over these 3 years of how they love the channel and everything else. Well, if you've ever wanted to help me, the best way to help me at this point is, pass it on. Get other people interested in the channel that are like-minded modelers. I guess that's where I'd fit in. And, like the style of work that I do. Blah, blah. A lot of you have, in person, have seen my work. I don't, we talk about it a little bit, but, you don't really know. And as kind of an isolated modeler, I guess, I do belong to a club. Many of you know, STS Decals, Terry Borchers, that is our club president. He's, 20 minutes down the road from me, but we don't hang out every day, and we don't just discuss models all the time. He's running a small business, running a model club, and his own personal life. So, it's not like when you're kids and you got 2 or 3 buddies and they all like building models, and you get together a couple days a week, or you have a big sleepover and you hang out and you just, shoot the crap, and you're working on a model. That's kind of what I'm used to. So being isolated is kind of nice, but in the same fact, it has its disadvantages. So this advantage here is with YouTube, I get to talk to you all about it, whether you listen or not. And as if you were next door, you feed back information to me. And that's how I know. That's how I process things. Hey, they would like to see this. Hey, that was a beautiful build. Maybe won't you try this? I don't get any of that from you guys, and I'd really like to get that interaction going. I don't have a lot of options. I mean, I have a few things. I have some military airplanes. I have a boat. I have, figures. I do 3D print to a degree. Not right now. It's all still, it's all hooked up, but it's not, I have not leveled anything. I've not zeroed them out, got them set up and ready to go. I still need to get alcohol. There's quite a few things I need to do first before I get those up and going. And hopefully sometime between now and spring or middle of summer, I'm up and going on that, because I do need to replenish some things. There's new stuff out I want to get. So you guys, bear with me on that. But how it helps me is by all the comments and people watching it from the beginning to the end. And I've said it a million times, even if you can't, pause the video, go do what you got to do. I don't want you to sacrifice something you need to get done watching one of my videos, but please come back and finish watching it, because that time lapse of, you watching it the full duration, that takes this video and puts it either down here at the bottom where hardly anybody ever sees it, or up here where, a few people will see it, to where we get back up here, and it's not in the mainstream, but it's in the relevance of all other modelers and other people that watch modeling, and some videos will get up in there, some don't. So having 1,500 or 1,005, whatever it is, I think it's 1,150 might be, I think is what our subscribers are. So I would like to hit that 1,500 mark. That's another big giveaway. That's further growth in the channel. I know a lot of channels start off slow and they get good over a few years, and then there's some that just go through the roof. I'm not trying to make my living on YouTube. This is just a hobby. It's something it gives me a peace of mind, and I get to show my work kind of across the world because, YouTube is on the internet and everybody watches YouTube from time to time. They might come across one of my videos, see it, and find it interesting and, watch it. That's all I can hope for. And maybe spark some interest in that person to pick up a model and try to build it. They're not, to me, at the end of the day, they're not really hard. After you've built enough of them, it's kind of like secondhand. You know what you're doing, what it's about, what goes where, what it's called. And really, that's how I got my automotive, what do you want to call it, knowledge. In the beginning is from building model cars, because the instructions told you, hey, this is a header, hey, this is a carburetor, a fuel pump, starter, exhaust, battery, tires, wheels, brakes, interior parts. It kind of informs you and teaches you what all these parts are. So when you get old enough and you start looking at a real car, okay, that's the alternator, that's the belts, those are the pulleys, these are the heads, headers, valve covers. Some models, if you remember, the valve train is molded in, so you get a good knowledge, a base knowledge of what everything is. And then, through high school, I took shop and I got the fundamentals of how an actual engine works, what it takes to take it apart, put it back together. And then being a mechanic off and on throughout my life, you get the hands-on, some training. I did enough training to get ASE certified. Am I a certified technician? To a degree, yes, and to a degree, no. My skill set really fell in carpentry. And, I walked out of it all as basically a master carpenter. I could do anything. I can build cabinetries, I can build a house, I can build a clubhouse, decks, siding, windows, doors, I know how to do roofing, I know how to do gutters, I know how to do flooring, I know how to paint, I know minimal plumbing. I was an electrician for quite a while, so I got certified through that, so I'm very well aware of that. I got certified in heavy equipment, so I know how bulldozers, track hose, mini hose, backhoes, ditch witches, small bulldozers, dump trucks. I've driven a semi before. I've kind of covered all my bases between the two, automotive, carpentry, campers, because they kind of both have the same thing. There's carpentry involved in that, and yet mechanical. So I've kind of got a well-rounded education in all of it. And model cars is what gave me the essential knowledge to either just leave it at that or pursue it further. And again, being ADHD and a little bit on the spectrum, I always took stuff apart, wanted to see how it worked, put it back together, see if it still worked. So, like I said, I should have become an engineer, but it didn't. My life took a different turn, and I'm happy for it. And everybody sits back and thinks of how I could be better and I could have done better. But 60 years old now. I'm disabled. I am working 2 days a week part time, and it's not really part time. It's just a few hours each day, and they're scattered out. But there's plenty of reasons behind why I'm doing that. One is that now that we are empty nesters, I got a lot of time on my hand that is just making me basically lazy. Anybody that knows me, I don't have a filter. I try to control myself when I'm on here. I say what I think without thinking about it first. And I come off as an asshole, but I'm not. I'm just a regular guy. I've got certain ways of doing things. I've mastered what works for me. And if I can't, then it drives me crazy until I figure it out. So, that's just what's ball up in me. But enough of all that. So we're going to move the camera back. Let me lift this up. And I'm going to slide you guys back here. You guys can all see. It's all still sealed. Never been opened. The way I like to open them is I just cut the cellophane across the bottom. I like to keep the cellophane on the box lid. It protects the art. As an artist, that is very important to me. I've always, even as a kid, I guess that's my artistic nature, is that the box art is what attracted me to buy the model in the first place. Nowadays we have the internet, which gives you a lot more options of, because if this was released back in the, let's say the 60s, it's been re-released so many times, same kit, they just made some new parts for it, or they revamped it or retooled it, whatever it may be. This is an all brand new kit. Nothing, the only thing that's probably similar, and it's been released, is the Comet, the regular two-door coupe, kind of stock type looking car, and you're going to see that when they come out with something. But I think Mobius kind of is intuitive to what we do, and they watch, they know what's kind of relevant in today's society. So hopefully Mobius, if you come across this video, you start releasing more kits that are designed pro touring, which I guess in the plastic world, that would just be an engine alteration for the model kit, and a chassis, a different style chassis, and of course the tires and wheels. Pretty much everything, like the car interior of this car, is pretty much stock. Pro touring would have racing seats in the front, would have a full roll cage. This car I don't think has a roll cage. From what I see, we got the lid off by looking at the front art. Now, if I was a younger man, this would just totally attract me. I'd have to have this kit and probably build 2 or 3 of them, because I'd have 500 different ideas. This is beautiful just the way it is. So if you built it to match this box art, you're not going to go wrong. It'd be a beautiful model on your shelf. But that's not me. I can't tell you how excited I am. We'll kind of look at that. You can see the side box art. The hood kind of stays up, gives you a good view in there. I like having the hood off. I don't put a lot of hinges on my models. That way I can take the hood completely off, so you have full access to view the engine compartment. And I'll probably do the same on this one. But you can kind of get a good view of, the car. And this gives you a good view of the chassis. Very, very relevant to how a Pro Touring is. Most Pro Tourings, they would widen the car so they could put really super wide tires on the back, and a little bit wider tire in the front. And that's primarily for the circuits. This is just a good weekend cruiser, car show, participant. A lot of horsepower, modified chassis suspension, drives and handles very nice. That's why I say it's kind of in between the two, Resto Mod and Pro Touring, just the way it is. But, we're going to make it Pro Touring. Full blown, no, we're not widening the body. We're not going to, get all radical and crazy. We're probably going to use a different engine. We'll keep it true to Ford, so Mr. Ford don't come back and haunt me. We'll be using either a Coyote engine or maybe a big block down in it. That's yet to be seen. We're still a little ways from starting this project. But we're going to take the first bag out, which is the tires and wheels and some chrome pieces. And we're going to open them up. I want to keep this so I can put these back in it. This is what I really like about Mobius. They take the initiative to cover the chrome with tissue paper, basically. And that prevents scratching and nicking up the chrome and all that. Now, these wheels are really nice. There'll be a lot of guys just buying the kit to scrap the tires and wheels out of this thing for, other builds, which I totally would get. I do 3D print this wheel. I can't remember what it's called, but this is what we were putting on the Cutlass, if you remember, and I broke the spokes off. I do have these on, where's that? That 25T we did, the Chop T, the blue one. That's what these are. I just painted them black. And I think mine are, those would be more Pro Touring than what these are. except for the front. The front are a little narrower. But using the back tires from that and the front tires on this, that's Pro Touring. So to give you that little indication, versus an 8-inch wide wheel, these are about a 10-inch wide wheel. These backs on Pro Touring, those would be 12-inch wide, and I've seen them go up to 15-inch wide, and some, I think they're even getting wider now. So that, to me, that would be Pro Touring. But to compensate this, I have to look in my stash and see if I have two of the back tires, and we very may well chrome a set of those. We are going, I think we're going to keep these chrome. We may do something different. I don't know. I've got some choices. I got bronze. I've got gold. I've got matte black. I've got gunmetal. So we got some variations we could do on these, and we'll see. And that's one thing I was thinking about. Well, I like that, but I think if it had a touch of color on the wheels, that would decipher between Pro Touring and Resto Mod. Gray's more Resto Modish, I guess I would say. Matte black, bronze would be more in the Pro Touring as far as looks, what I've seen over the years. And, let me know down in the comments what you think a true Pro Touring would have and be. I would like to hear your opinion on it, or even an email if it's you don't want to type all that out in your phone. The chrome looks fantastic. To me, the chrome valve covers, this would be a small block. That would definitely be Resto Mod. That would not be a Pro Touring. Most all Pro Tourings are a very big block, very high power. We're talking 800 to 1600 horsepower. That's doubling from, a built big block you put down in here to, 1600 horsepower. And the thing about it is these chassis handle that kind of horsepower. That's what they're built for. They're full tubular, welded in a factory, and they're spec'd out to the car. They're custom built for that car. So I think they range up to 2,000 horsepower. That's insane. But yeah, you can definitely tell those are small block, like a 289, maybe 302 valve covers. But the grill, the bumpers, the rear panel, taillights, buckets, all this chrome looks fantastic. As always, Mobius does a pretty good deal on their chrome. The only thing I've ever known Mobius to be faulty at is warpage. Hopefully we don't run across that in here, but I'll let you know as we go. This one has the wiper blades, which I do like having the separate wipers. Little pro tip, if there is one. If you're going to do wipers, because the chrome gets a little thick, I like to strip these off, lightly sand everything down, get all the thickness and the bulkiness off of them, and then I'll re-chrome, or matte out the arms and then paint the blades. That way they look more representation of an actual wiper blade. Got a little gauge cluster here. Tachometer. Tachometer looks pretty good. It's got a hole in the back so I could actually get the wires to come out of that. A clunky shifter. We probably won't be using that. The door handles look good. The air cleaner, we won't be using that. And there's some other things here. I don't have my glasses on. Let me put my funky oversized glasses on with one little earpiece. Those are badges, so that's pretty cool. It looks like that's what those are, is little badges. Corner lights in the front. This has got some Weber carbs coming off of it. So this engine may have a possibility of being at the top end of Resto Mod to Pro Touring. Like I said, I've not seen or opened the instructions or anything like that. But so it looks like there's maybe some interior handles. I don't know what those are. We'd have to look in the instructions. Mirrors are a 2-piece, which those are kind of tricky. But believe it or not, the best way I found is when they're two-piece like this, right here where my finger is to remove them, strip the chrome, assemble it, do all your sanding, of course, assemble it, and then re-chrome it. That way, you're not trying to, you know what I'm saying, glue all that together, and then the glue gets all over the chrome and it messes it up. So there's another little pro tip. So when you go to strip these wiper blades actually are in great shape. I won't have to strip these now that I got my glasses on. I can see. Easily paint the blade. The arm is very thin looking, so just be very careful of clipping them off your sprue, not to break them. Definitely won't be using the shifter. The tachometer, I'm assuming that is the tachometer. There's a little detail in the center of that. I don't know what the heck that is, but we'll look in the instructions. Rear view mirror, that's fine. I don't get too particular on rear view mirrors as far as you know, the big long ones where you get a wide range of viewing behind you. Road course tracks, that would be really good to have one of those in there so you get better angles of who's coming up on the side of you or behind you. This little rear view mirror wouldn't cut it. Small road course, this would be okay. You'd have your side mirrors too. But yeah, all that looks really good. So we'll put that back on there. Put this on the bottom so we don't get them all scuffed up. Put it back in the plastic. Again, guys, you know, you asked for this, so please let me know down in the comments, you know, what you think about it all. Is this something that interests you? And, you know, we can do this build if you want. We'll do a series on it, a step-by-step. So if you guys want to go purchase this kit and build yours along with me, kind of like if we were next door neighbors and we were, you know, 13, 14 years old and had nothing better to do, sit around and build models, by all means, go get it. Let me know down in the comments, and I'll be glad to build this one that way. I've always been willing to pretty much do whatever you guys want. It's just a matter of you saying it. I don't throw any of this away yet. That's another little pro tip. Sometimes little parts get down in there and you don't see them. You pull out everything. You're like, okay, and you just throw everything away. And then you get to that part and you're like, I don't have that part. Well, it's because you threw the part away and you just didn't realize it was down in the bag. We'll remove the chassis from the body. So, this is cool and it's not cool. They did put a protouring chassis underneath this. I'd like to have seen it tubular versus square tubing, but I've seen chassis built both ways, so it's not, you know, like it's not like a deal breaker. And you can tell this custom that allows for the exhaust. You know, they thought ahead, which is nice. The only thing I don't like is I thought this would come out and continue to the front, and it does not. These would also be considered mini tubs, not full tubbed, which is okay. I've seen protouring done with mini tubs, and it's just, that's only done so they can put a narrowed rear end in and a 4-link and, you know, fatter, wider tires. Protouring are ones you see these 24, 26 inch tall tires, you know, 15 inches wide. Cars slam down on them. They've got air ride on them too, adjustable coilovers. So they got multiple purposes, you know, like we discussed in the beginning. Overall, though, very, very nice. The front A-arms are tubular, or they would be tubular. And there is a little bit of flash in there, but a very sharp number 11 you can get in there and clean it up. Take that away, cut it away. It's, you know, that's prone to happen like right here. You guys can see there's a little bit of flashing right there. There's a little flashing in the upper arms and around the edges. Just the tip of a number 11 blade, get in there and you kind of scrape it away. Take you a sanding stick. Hobby Lobby, these are the best. I love these little sanding sticks. I know there's better ones out there, but, you know, for the price, for, I don't know, $3.99, you get a whole bag full, and these things last years. I cut little pieces off of them if I need to. Whatever. I've got crap tons of sanding devices and sticks and everything else. So it's just what will work for me at the point. But this, you know, this pretty much will take care of like that. Just cleaned, yep, that just cleaned that right up. Very, very minimal effort. So, you know, then we look inside. Mobius is notorious for keying. Keying is where they actually put holes or raised indentions where an item goes. That way it fits in there very securely. Sometimes friction fits and you don't have to glue. I always glue everything. If I can get away with not gluing the chassis to the body, I do that. That way, if I ever got to take it back apart, a lot of times, as you see the models that I build, it takes an act of God to get it together at the end and turn out. So sometimes I don't have choices but to glue the chassis to the body to get the body down on there, and then rubber band it until it cures, and then I'm okay. But minimal cleanup on this. We don't know about the interior. We'll get to that. The body, I'm looking at it. It is warped. If you look down that line, you can see back here where my finger is. You can see how that's raised the cowl. So if you look down there, you can see right where my fingers are. This is raised higher than that cowl, and that should be the same height straight across. If I'm focusing the line of sight from my cowl to the back of the deck, I shouldn't be able to see. Now I can tweak the body, but then you look underneath where this finger is, and you can see the lower portion of it underneath the cowl, and over here you cannot. So that tells me the body's warped. How do we correct that? Tons of different methods. Most of you know how to do that. You can put it down in boiling water, pull it out, put the chassis on it, kind of rubber band it, and let it cool down, and that'll hold. My way of doing it is I'll tweak it a little bit. You know, this also, guys, this does not stay. This comes off. But I'll tweak it and keep eyeing it until I get it. And that is really close. Just that little tweaking I did has got it really close. But I'll use a heat gun from a distance about 5-6 inches away on low, and I'll manipulate the body and then let it cool down, check it, heat it up again a little bit, manipulate it. I like the hands-on. Hence the reason why I like to paint my interiors by hand. It's challenging. You know, as you get older, you need things that challenge your brain and your motor skills, and those kind of things do. Where I could easily just mask off and airbrush everything nice, perfect, clean. I don't like that, for one. You know, and at the end of the day, it is my model, and everybody's going to do things the way they want to do it and what they're comfortable with. And I find by using acrylics on my interiors, I've got a whole world of colors to choose from. And if I screw it up, I can just wash it off, lightly sand it, and hit it with some new primer and go at it again. Where if I shoot it with lacquer, you know, I could buy the fancy strippers and, you know, strip it off that way, but I don't go that far into it, guys. I just don't. I do want to get some of that new stripper. I've seen floating around here the past couple of years. It's kind of green. It does work fantastic. Terry had some, and he showed me the proof, and I was like, holy crap, I got to get some of that. It's just super expensive. It's like $30 for a little bottle. Now, you get quite a bit done with that little bottle, so at the end of the day, it would, especially if you're going for a show quality model, that would help you along that path a lot better. But yeah, I'm glad that just that little bit of manipulation I just did, you can see right there, that straightened it up. So not a big issue at all. So we'll set those to the side here. We are going to go over my original time. We won't take these out, but here's all the tail lenses, cozy wing, windows, rear glass, front glass, marker lights, headlights, tail lights. You know, we know what all that is about. So we'll set that to the side over here. Okay, now this we got to open and take a look at, because this is something new. Even in the 3D world, I've not seen these tires. They may be out there. Don't quote me as written in stone, so to speak. But very cool tread pattern. Now these would be protouring tires. Race quality. Very, very grippy tire. Tread tread, no name printed on them or anything. Fireball Model Works makes tons of different white letter tires. Hero Boy, you can get the more like Pirelli and all those high-end tire decals. So and all you got to do is get you a bottle of Vallejo semi-gloss varnish. Just put a coat of varnish on it. It'll dry in about 10-15 minutes, and then you can put your decal in there. Let them cure, make sure everything's laid down good, then come back over it with the mat, which will seal that decal in. And here's another tip. I do this too. I'll come back over with the semi-gloss again over top of it. Make sure it's buried really good. And then I'll come back over that with the mat to dull it back up so it looks more like a real tire. So if you want to add the fancy raised white letter tires, even though they're not really raised, but it gives the look of it, that is possible. So those are your two choices. Hero Boy. Of course, you could talk to Terry at STS Decals. He could probably make you a slew of decals that'll work, on tires. He may already have them. I don't know. Back tires, same tread pattern. These are probably, I'd say they're representing, I would say those are probably maybe an 8-inch, 9-inch wide front, a 9, 10, maybe 11-inch wide tire, compared to what I know from Ryan Jones, a 12-inch and a 15-inch wide tire, what they look like and how wide they are, and those aren't as wide as the 12s. So we may very well, if we look at this chassis, I can't really gain anything in here. Now, I could very easily get some square styrene and run a brace across the backside of the gas tank here. And to be honest, this would be more resto mod than it would be protouring, because protouring will have a fuel cell. This is more of a gas tank style. So you can see what I'm talking about as far as the, what would be considered resto mod and what would be protouring. Protouring, this would have a fuel cell in it. So yeah, you could cut that out and put a sheet of styrene in there and fill that in, and then open the trunk and have your fuel cell sitting in the back. Very easily. A slew of videos out there how to open your doors, hinge them. There's companies, I know Ryan Jones makes a set of hinges now. There's somebody else that makes hinges. Makes your life a lot easier on doors and trunks and stuff like that to open and close them. But to widen this, this is a rear tire, and if I put that in there, you can see I've got about a 16th of an 8 or a 16th of an inch space that I can bump the tire out. If I was just going to bump the tire out, or I can use a tire that's a 16th of an inch wider, which would put me probably about in the 12-inch wide range, which the 3D printed ones I have are 12s, so they may very well fit right in here. The height would be the difference, and you guys can eliminate these tubs or take these tubs out and make your own tubs and raise them higher, because you've got space. If you're not opening the trunk, you got space in there that you can, by putting this, well, now it doesn't want to go in there that easy. Alright, there we go, we're in there. So if you look in there, the body hits the side. There is almost an 1/8 of an inch right there, but you can't take that little lip out you see right here underneath my finger, because that is the molded line here, so you would have a big hole right here when you try to do away with that. Now if you're going for a full-blown custom build and showpiece, yeah, you can fill that body back in. You could actually widen this body just a little bit if you want to and put really, monster tires. We're looking just to fill the wheel wells. That's, at this point, that's the best we can do without really changing a lot. And I don't want to change a lot. I kind of want to just run with it and add what it's lacking. And have a nice protouring model that was a lot easier than me having to scratch build everything or 3D print parts or get parts made, that type of thing. So we'll test fit it, but we very may be able to do the 12-inch wide. And I may get my small printer up and running really quick just to reprint off a set of rear tires. I think I have one up in the storage. I can get out, at least I can test fit and see if they're even going to fit. If they do, then we may well go that route. And then set it as low as we can. That way those tires are all the way up in there. And, you know, yeah, we can still sit low, hopefully. We'll see. Standard mobious parts here. We've got the inner fender wells. On a protouring, it would not have these. Some will do a custom sheet metal design in there and box it all in. A lot of them are just open. That way they can get to the coilovers, they can get to the headers, they can get to, you know, whatever they need. This car would have been like a Mustang. It would have had shock towers, like the old Comets, and what's the other ones that had them too? Mustangs, Comets, Falcons. They all had like the shock tower molded into the inner fender wells. This doesn't have that, so it tells me that these gives a little more room in the engine bay. So we'll see. Like I said, I was disappointed that the front wasn't a tubular chassis or a square tubed frame in the front. It's more of a stock frame in the front, and just attached to the front, like so. It's got like a front half and a back half in it, and then the front component is the front half is stock. The back half is, of course, custom, and then the main chassis is custom. So, right in that not pro mod, but protouring resto mod look. Same way as the radiator. That would be more resto mod. Protouring would have a full-blown aluminum racing, radiator in there. This all being molded in. We might be able to cut that out. I do have radiators 3D print. They're more racing, so we may switch that out. That'll take a little bit of work. Firewall, nice to see. It's very smooth. Not a lot of components pumping out on it, so it wouldn't take a lot to remove whatever this is here, which would have been the heater box. So you could take that out and fill that in, remove the wiring that's molded in, and the little regulator right here, take that out and get that completely smooth. I don't like all the design on here, so you could sand that all the way and get those nice and smooth, which is what we'll probably do. Steering wheel, no. You guys can see through that plastic there. That is not a racing style steering wheel. I do 3D print them, so we'll switch to something that's more radical. Maybe one of those flat bottom racing steering wheels. It does have a roll cage. My apologies. It's the single, looks like a single loop, but we'll have to match some styrene to this and see. We do need a crossbar across the back for the harnesses. Protouring would have 5-point harnesses in both front seats. Some of them have back seats in them, some of them don't. It just depends. This is a back seat delete. I don't see a back seat in here, so there is no rear interior. So we could add to this single hoop roll cage and create a full roll cage inside of here, which would not be very hard at all. It's just a matter of using the body to find your shapes and keeping your distance away from the A pillars and the B pillars, and a little space between it and the roof, that type of thing. So we may work on that. Like I said, it'll be a project. It's not going to be see how fast we can build this. If I was building it to match the box, it would just be, what can we do with what's in the box? And that would be a lot. It'd be a beautiful build. And I may very well get another one and build it just like what's on the box, because I do like that artwork. I like the colors, the scheme. Colors are not picked out for this yet. I like that decal. It's got the blue and the red going down the side. I may take the decals to Terry and see if maybe he can come up with a few different color combinations. Maybe get me going on picking a color for this. I kind of want to do something different, something I haven't done before. So, you know, we'll see. Now the exhaust I really do like, because it is a true dual exhaust. It's pretty much straight all the way out of the car. We've got the front suspension. Another thing, guys, this would have rack and pinion suspension, and it does not. It does have a 4-link, which is nice. It is a narrow diff. It's forward 9-inch. It does have coilovers. They're not very detailed coilovers, but they are coilovers. It does have disc brakes, tubular front upper control arms. The headers look really good. It's a different style header. Front diff, the hog head, very nicely detailed. They did a nice job on that. The seats are very nice. They are not factory seats. They would be aftermarket. That would be Rustomod, not protouring. Protouring would have it to where the harnesses would come through the, you know, be a full racing seat basically. But these could be, because they're the shape of a racing seat, I can still have the shoulder harnesses come over the shoulders of the chairs or seats and still play that part. So, you know, kudos to Mobius for that. Those parts look really, really nice. Oil pan, very simple. Don't know what that is. I'll have to look into that. And we got another parts tree here. Okay, so we do have a couple options for the engine, which is nice. There's another set of headers in here too. It looks like long tube headers, and you got short tube headers. So, thank you, Mobius. That's nice. So you got a second set of headers you can use. Nicely detailed engine. It does look like it's a 302. It's got a 2.4 4-barrel setup. Carburetors are really detailed. Nice carbs. Matter of fact, I'm using something very similar, only I'm using fuel injectors on the Rustomod Corvette. Alternators nicely detailed, water pumps detailed, really detailed heads. You've got a fuel injection, which would be the Weber's, or the 2 4-barrels. And even the 2 4-barrel, the intake is drilled out. So if you wanted to just set this intake to the side and detail it up like it's been taken off or it's getting ready to be put on a car, that would be a nice detail. Starter, basic starter. Again, I don't know what that is, but it looks like it's got A&M fittings coming off of it right here. You guys can see that little tiny part. It's hard to see. I don't want to take it out because I'll probably knock it off. Interior door panels, those are stock panels. The hood, very nice. The front of it's open. You can see right there through the plastic. So nice vision into that. That would be nice if you can manipulate your turbos and see the tops of the turbos right there through that without it protruding through the hood. I like keeping everything underneath the hood, kind of that sleeper mode. Nobody really can see what you got underneath there, but they can hear it and they know there's something. The Webers would give you that kind of look too. Nice looking hinges. Everything looks very thin and petite. No chunky, out of scale looking parts, which is nice. There's some other parts in here. I don't know what they are. We'll have to kind of get into that. The decals, you know, we can take a look at those. I'm always interested to see what they give you. And then we can get this wrapped up. Thanks for, you know, sticking with me through this whole thing. 45-minute video is going to turn into an hour. A lot of gauges, badges. That's really nice. Smorey Racing. And then those things that it's a 289. I'm sorry, guys. It's not a 302. It's a 289. There's a badge on here. That's nice. And they got some other, I don't know what are they relevant, if I guess to a Comet. But you got a stereo. Nope. Or yeah, maybe a stereo and some other gauges, round gauges. Then you got the speedometer. You know, this has got the factory speedometer in it. A protouring would not have a factory speedometer in it. It would have a full racing digital display screen where they're, you know, monitoring everything underneath the hood. That would be more protouring, where this would be resto mod. I've seen resto mods with aftermarket clusters in them, so you know that's why I said this kit is kind of right in between the two. I just like the fact that Mobius, called it protouring. It is very similar to a protouring, but yet a little different. And I like the fact that whoever built this did the hog head the right way. Has that OEM red oxide color to it. Mobius, of course, very, very descriptive instructions. Sometimes they can be misleading. Most of the time they're not. Okay, the one part was a hood latch that I was looking at, so that's nice. Nice little piece of detail. A lot of times we'll scratch build that, just if it'll fit in there, just to give that detail. The Weber carb engine looks really nice. I think those are the long tube headers. The other version, 2.4s. I don't know, by looking in the package, it looked like there's a short tube and long tube. On here, though, it looks like it's all the same header no matter what. But I think there is a difference in them, so you might be a little mindful of that. Dash, that was the tachometer, so we're good on that. The foot pedals. Another thing, a protouring would not have the stock foot pedals. It would have electronic foot pedals, racing pedals in it. That throttle response is all electronic, especially when you're running a fuel injection, twin turboed, monster. Everything's computerized. It's just like in a real car. Like my family car is a Kia Sportage. It's electronic gas pedal in it. My truck is manual. There's difference in them. The response is spot on the Kia. The truck, I got a little, not hesitant, but little play in that foot pedal, and that's what I like. So racing pedals would be no different. Roll cage, this is basically a 3-post roll cage. It goes down to the wheel well versus going down and inside the trunk like a protouring would be. Same way coming through the front firewall and into the engine bay. Upper control arms would be mounted to that. And then you have the coilovers, more racing versus street. I'm looking for that other little part so we can see what maybe that is. It does show it has a rack and pinion, so that would be in the protouring. Disc brakes would be protouring, that'd be resto mod also. Rear brakes showing drums, so therefore this car would be set up as resto mod. This would not be protouring because the rears would be discs also. That kind of horsepower equals big racing discs to stop you. But the front does have drilled and slotted rotors. The rear I see, backer plates, so that tells me it'd be drum brakes. Well, we'll be building it with disc brakes, and we won't be using that setup. The horns, protouring, it wouldn't have the horns. It's got the factory master cylinder. Protouring would not have a factory master cylinder. It'd have a Bear or a Willwood racing master cylinder on it, or full-blown just cylinders for each component. Racing style master cylinder. This does not have that, so in the same way it does not have a fuel cell. But the 4-link does look nice. The picture, I think, describes a better component than what the actual component is. Again, it's open to interpretations. You could swap those out and put better looking coilovers in the back of it, depending on how far you're going with the build. And we may just swap out some parts that are more protouring, like the rear tires, rear brakes. We might run the factory engine. I've not done a Weber style fuel injection engine before that I can remember. So we'll see. We may may go that route. It's undetermined, but everything looks pretty good. Typical Mobius. Very, like I said, very descriptive on where things go. Their color choices, like that interior, to me is just blah. There is no show quality, and show quality doesn't mean going to a show. It means even displaying it in your own case. That's just painting and painting some small detail. That's not, the carpet wouldn't be the exact same color as the seats. The door panels might be the same color, depending on the material they use. There would be variances, and that's just like all straight blue, and that does not look appealing to me at all. They did gray out the wheels, which tells me, resto mod. I have seen protouring with the gunmetal style wheel on it. It just all depends. So, that could go either way. They give you a color choice for your paints. Some important, read this first information, open for interpretation. But overall, a good instruction. And it folds up nice. Put it right back in the box. Put all the parts back down in there. Body was off to the side here. So, pros and cons. Nice tire and wheel package. 80% on protouring chassis. They failed to complete it, in my opinion. Would I buy this kit? Absolutely. I did buy this kit. Would I buy another one? Absolutely. Mobius is one of my favorite kits. They're very clean. They're not prone to having faults in them. So don't crucify me for something. But overall, they're packaged nice. You don't have to worry about things getting torn up. They wrap everything really good. Everything's shipped nice. They pack them in a box really nice. The box goes back on nice. And this is how I'll keep it until I build it. So, again, let me know down in the comments what you think of the protouring kit. If you like that, if you want me to do more, you just gotta let me know which ones you'd like to see. Even if it's an older kit, I'll do the same thing. And if I'm going to build it a certain way, I'll kind of let you know what route I'm going with it and what we'll be doing to it. Most of them, if it's the older ones, I know kind of what colors I'm doing them, and so I'll have more information. Kind of whet your appetite, your palate, get you excited for it. Like I said, the next one up on the bench after the Corvettes are done, which we've almost got 2 to the point of final assembly. That's how quick they're going, which is nice. If you remember, this is the Ring Brothers Charger. I had custom wheels made for this, because this would be protouring resto mod, kind of like this Falcon or Comet, in a way. Only this has wider tires, so it's more protouring, and the suspension underneath it. But if you remember, we've got the custom made, like I just was talking about, the hood latch. We scratch built that. We had to scratch build the dash. We had to modify the seats to fit. We had to modify the hood. We've got all the chrome trim done. Is this a showpiece? No, I don't think it'll be a showpiece, but it's going to be nice because it's something I've always wanted to do. And, we still got to detail paint the exhaust where it comes out. A lot of detail on this one. Smoothing out the fender wells inside, making them color match. Having the decals made for it. A Ring Brothers design on it. Custom tires and wheels. A custom steering wheel. Brakes. We had a lot of scratch building on the interior. There's our Hemi. We still got to detail that out, but it's there. And, that's going to show up through the hood of this car. When you have the hood on. Right there. You can see the Hemi is going to stick up through that a little bit. Everybody knows about these country chargers. They're crap. They're a good kit to really start with. To me, I like to start on a hard kit. It challenges you to overcome adversity on them. More of a, these were a failed print, but you can see that flat bottom steering wheel. That's more of what you'd see in a Pro Touring quick release style steering wheel. We had to really modify our seats down to look the part of the real ones. We scratch built our door panels for the inside, if you remember. And we got a template for down the road. If you guys don't remember what the tires and wheels look like, that is a 12-inch wide tire. Okay, these were Ryan Jones. These are all 3D printed, painted by me. And that's a wide rear tire. And this is the size. I should have grabbed this out and we could have checked the Comet to see if that'll fit in there. I think it will, but there's the rear one of the rear tires. Everything's down in the box. Real thankful of the parts that we've made and got to make. Remember, we scratch built the rear diffuser. That fits in there really nice. You know, you'll be able to see that from the side, like on the real car. That's supposed to hang out like that. The exhaust ports, you know, a lot of work went into this and kept frustrating me. And we put it up for a little while, but it just got pushed to the side. So this will be the next one on the bench, guys. I don't have to do a video on that. The Corvette, I can show you real quick. The orange one, we smoothed out the firewall. This is the putty I was talking about. This is made by Bondo glazing putty. This stuff works great for us in the modeling world versus Tamiya's, and I know everybody uses those, but I've noticed that those will shrink and crack over time. This has really never failed anybody that I know of. You can let me know if you had bad luck with it or whatever down in the comments. I'm getting all cockeyed and crazy. But we added, because this is with the kit, the booster. Now we'll add the master cylinder because we don't have the master cylinder. So we'll put more of a Resto Mod Pro Touring style master cylinder on it. And yeah, we got some more sanding to do on here. Get it all smoothed out once this all cures and dries. That's the second coat. The car is a rolling chassis. Now you can see by just lowering it what all that did to it. There's still a gap. You can see tires went. I mean, if you hit a hard bump, I guess that would rub. Maybe blow out your quarter panels, but it's a model. But those are Steven Zimmerman wheels. Sits on all four. I've got a little warp mat here, so just looking at this, but if I set it right on the table, it sits on all fours. And the same way if I get over here on hardwood, I got just a slight gap, but once that interior and everything's in there, the engine's in there, that just that tiny little bit of weight, because I'm barely, and when I just barely touch it, then it sits on all fours. So you can feel it grabbing. Nothing's, you know, going like this. So this one's very close to going into clear. Since we are going with the LS style motor, we'll have to put electric fan, and we're going to put it on the back side down here of the radiator, blowing in. So I do have room to get that in there. We won't wire it or plumb it or anything like that. It's just that detail will be there where you can maybe get a glimpse of it, because the drivetrain we're using, it's just crazy. We're using it's off the 572, but I downsized this one when I was trying to get parts together for these builds. This was a 1/24. I scaled it to a 1/25, so now it fits the engine that I scaled down for it. This is what was in the box. I didn't have to go digging for it. But, you know, I could have used all the other components, electric water pump and all that, but I liked that belt drive on there more so. So that fits on there perfect. So you can tell it's electric water pump. There's no fan. So, and here's our fan. Found this down in the other box. So apparently I was originally going to do that. We got our coilovers drilled and painted, so we can put wires in them. Plug wires is the only thing we're going with. Here's my gray plug wire. Get it in a little thing. This is like $2. So you know, say when you buy stuff in bulk, so I got like 3 packages of this for like, I don't know, $7, $8. Plug wires for days, and you can get any color you want, and it's the right size, and it's very, very moldy. You can bend it and shape it how you want. So that'll be the color of the plugs. And then real quick, you can see I changed my mind. I didn't do tan. We went with gray and black for the interior. Just thought it was more suiting. Gray plug wires. Where can we carry more gray into the interior? The gray does look good with that orange, as you guys were wondering. Gives you a nice light color interior. And again, these are hand painted. You can't really tell if I airbrushed it or hand painted it. It's smooth. I mean, I got some light sanding to do, and I'll probably have to put another coat on these. There's a little, with acrylics, it has a tendency to bubble, and those bubbles will dry. So then you got to kind of like lightly sand it down, and then come back over it and lay a smooth coat over it. Apparently, I got dirt on my fingers, so it's getting all over the gray paint. But I like that, and it plays the part. Once I get it smooth, and then I can put a matte coat over this, or in this case, it'll be a gloss coat, so it'll look like gray leather. Same way with the dash. We've only got 1 coat on this so far. We have a lot of touching up to do, but that's why I like using acrylics, because I can do one color, and if I get a little bit up on something, I can come back with the other color and touch it up. Where I'd have to mask all this off, use the green stuff, the whatever it's called, which works great in its own right, but I don't want to spend 2 days, 3 days working on a single dash. So we got our steering wheel painted. That's pretty much it on that, guys. The firewalls, everything's been repainted. The chassis has been repainted. You can see there. It's all nice. Still got to do some detail painting, but it's a rolling chassis. So once we get the interior done, we have acquired all 3 windshields, I believe, from a friend. I won't mention his name, that way nobody hounds him for extra parts, but he contacted me and said he had all 3 windshields. I really only needed 2. I was going to try to make one, but it makes better sense to just, if I can get 3 to put, it makes it easier to get it all done, so we move on to the Charger. So minimal touch up. We do have a spot right there we got to respray, and then this will be ready for clear. The blue one is ready for clear. We got to spray the hard top for this still. A couple other little parts to spray for this, which is a few minutes, and then we'll get this one in a clear coat and final assembly, and we'll have 2 of the 3 completely knocked out. And the third one, the interior is going to be the hardest thing, because it was done with testers and enamels, so I don't have to sand anything that's rough and then reprime it and then repaint it to match the theme we want for the green one. We did fix the lower cowl on the green one, so that's curing now. Hopefully I got enough paint in the jar that I can touch that little area up and then re-clear it in that spot. But I'm not going to clear any of them until they're all 3 ready for clear. That way I can mix up one batch and do all 3 bodies and hoods. And that way they can all 3 go in the dehydrator, and when they come out, they're done. We're going to put the newer school badging on this one, front and rear. So we just got to get those on there still. That's the only thing left on the body to do. So, yep. So make sure you guys tune in next week for an update on what can we do with what's in the box. And meanwhile, like I said, if there's anything you guys want to see, I don't know if I can't zoom in when it's facing me. But maybe you can, if you're watching on your phone, then you can snap or screenshot it, blow it up, and if you see something up there, or you're curious about a certain kit, maybe I have it and it's not in the line of sight here, I'll let you know if I have it. If you want to see a review on that, we can do that. Let me know if you want to do a type of build where, when I start building the Comet, if you guys already have the kit or you want to go out and get the kit and build it along with me, let me know what you think about that. get rid of those. Tired of fighting those. I need to, these are really good for seeing stuff. I need to make up something on this to, maybe I'll drill it out and put a strap on it to where I can put a strap on here and hold it on my face better, because I really like these. These kind of are perfect for what I do. My other glasses, I got to look through the bottom, and they work okay, but these are a little bit better. Of course, the cheap spectacles you get at Walgreens are better than what I had custom glasses made. But anyways, that's enough about me. Ernest, I'm going to try to next week get him out in the mail to you. I keep forgetting. I apologize. He is all done, cured. I think it looks pretty good. So get with me, and I've lost your address somehow, some way. I don't know how I've done that, but I have. So shoot me your address if you're watching this video, and then I'll get your guy sent out to you next week. And then I haven't forgot about you on the engine. As soon as I get the printers up and going, and I can upscale that engine, we'll get you an engine printed out and get that sent up there to you too. I know you're not in a rush, and I appreciate that. But yeah, this guy looks really good. I think he's going to look really good standing next to your Camaro. So hope you enjoy him. And that's about it, guys. I hope you have a great weekend. Remember, watch the video from the beginning to the end, because I am all over the place all the time. My videos run long. They'll be short. They'll be long. They'll be medium. I have no control over that, because I just get too much into everything. So thumbs up, hit that bell notification, all that great stuff. Share the video. Flood those comments, guys. That's what makes us get up there where other people see it, and then maybe we can start pulling in some more subscribers. Maybe somebody you know that's getting started, get them to subscribe to the channel. I'll try to do anything I can. A technique you want to see, how to wet sand, polish, paint, whatever it may be. You just got to let me know. I don't want to keep being repetitive and doing things, and there's no interest in it. So, don't want to waste your time. Don't want to waste my time. So, you guys have a great weekend. And this is Rusty Rotor. I'm out.